Okay, can anyone here speak Irish? Don't need to raise your hands. It's almost a rhetorical question. Basically, it seems like a very simple question. However, it becomes much more complex if you consider that it's posed to every member of the population of Ireland every 5 years as part of the census. It's based on self-assessment of a language that for many people has not been used for quite a long period of time. Now, the most recent census results show that 39% of the population of Ireland claim to be able to speak the language. However, a quarter of those never speak it, and only 4% speak it daily. So it's part of my research to look into the idea of how people are perceiving their language abilities and whether they're inaccurate or not in their perceptions of their skills. To do that, I looked at 3 linguistic areas of research. I looked at language attrition, which is the perception of language loss, in this case Irish. I looked at residual knowledge, which is the opposite of that. It's the idea of retention of an unconscious level of knowledge in individuals. And finally, self-assessment of language skills in general have shown in previous studies to result in over or underestimates of abilities. So with that, I looked at 3 specific research questions. I wanted to try and detect, was there a degree of this residual knowledge in the unconscious level in participants? I also wanted to see was the perceptions and the actual proficiency of individuals, were they correlating? And finally, I wanted to see what was the role that attitudes and experiences have in these perceptions of skills. So 104 participants who have not used the language for at least 5 years undertook an online attitudinal survey. As part of the survey, they also undertook a reading and writing test in Irish. Now, both tests were based at the lower level Leaving Cert. As part of the attitudinal survey then, I posed them 3 very specific self-assessment questions. A global question on their general skills, how they felt they got on with Irish knowledge. And also I used the Common European Framework Reference of Languages to give them reading and writing self-assessment questions. These are very specific, detailed descriptions that people can use to determine their level, whether it's basic or proficient. So 80% of my participants felt, in general, they had quite a reasonable competence in Irish language skills. However, when we introduced the European Framework of Reference, much more conservative estimates arise. So straight away, there's a conflict of self-assessment. Over 42% claim to have 0 writing skills. Now, the results of the reading test show that 56% of participants failed. However, the much overestimated, or underestimated, I suppose, writing skills proved to be the area with the most residual knowledge of skills. Interestingly, attitudes, age, gender, and level of education had no influence on self-assessment. In conclusion, in my study, there was very strong evidence of residual knowledge, particularly in Irish, unknown to individuals. Self-assessment, like in previous study, has proven itself to be an inaccurate measure for language data. And finally, regardless of being positive or not, attitudes have no influence to play. So the final question remains, in my next area of research, what is influencing self-assessment of Irish skills? Thank you very much.